Alright, let's continue on with the Scarlet. Take two. Let's continue on with the Scarlet Citadel. Some old woman with a cane cut in front of me at the market. Bitch. Before midnight, they crossed the Ophirian border, and at dawn, the spires of Korshemish stood up gleaming and rose-tinted on the southeastern horizon. The slim towers overawed by the grim Scarlet Citadel that at a distance was like a splash of bright blood in the sky. That was the castle of Sotha. Only one narrow street, paved with marble and guarded by heavy iron gates, led up to it, where it crowned the hill dominating the city. The sides of that hill were too sheer to be climbed elsewhere. From the walls of the citadel, one could look down on the broad white streets of the city, on minareted mosques, shops, temples, mansions, and markets. One could look down, too, on the palaces of the king, set in broad gardens, high-walled, luxurious riots of fruit trees and blossoms, through which artificial streams murmured and silvery fountains rippled incessantly. Over all brooded the citadel, like a condor stooping above its prey, intent on its own dark meditations. The mighty gates between the huge towers of the outer wall clanged open, and the king rode into his capital between lines of glittering spearmen, while 50 trumpets pealed salute. But no throng swarmed the white-paved streets to fling roses before the conqueror's hoofs. Strabonus had raced ahead of news of the battle, and the people, just rousing to the occupations of the day, gaped to see their king returning with a small retinue, and were in doubt as to whether it portended victory or defeat. Conan, life sluggishly moving in his veins again, craned his neck from the chariot floor to view the wonders of this city which men called the Queen of the South. He had thought to ride someday through these golden-chased gates at the head of his steel-clad squadrons, with a great lion banner flowing over his helmeted head. Instead, he entered in chains, stripped of his armor, and thrown like a captive slave on the bronze floor of his conqueror's chariot. A wayward, devilish mirth of mockery rose above his fury. But to the nervous soldiers who drove the chariot, his laughter sounded like the muttering of a rousing lion. 2. Gleaming shell of an outworn lie, fable of right divine. You gained your crowns by heritage, but blood was the price of mine. The throne that I won by blood and sweat, by Crom, I will not sell for a promise of valleys filled with gold, or threat of the halls of hell, the road of kings. In the citadel, in a chamber with a domed ceiling of carven jet, and the fretted arches of doorways glimmering with strange dark jewels, a strange conclave came to pass. Conan of Aquilonia, blood from unbandaged wounds caking his huge limbs, faced his captors. On either side of him stood a dozen black giants, grasping their long-shafted axes. In front of him stood Sotha, and on divans lounged Strabonus and Amaurus in their silks and gold, gleaming with jewels, naked slave boys beside them pouring wine into cups carved of a single sapphire. Naked slave boys, huh? How do you like that? Huh? Pretty racy. In strong contrast stood Conan, grim, blood-stained, naked but for a loincloth, shackles on his mighty limbs, his blue eyes blazing beneath the tangled black mane that fell over his low, broad forehead. He dominated the scene, turning to tinsel the pomp of the conquerors by the sheer vitality of his elemental personality. And the kings, in their pride and splendor, were aware of it, each in his secret heart, and were not at ease. Only Satha was not disturbed. I don't know, I'd rather have naked women serving me than naked boys. Naked boys don't belong in my palace. Our desires are quickly spoken, King of Aquilonia, said Satha. It is our wish to extend our empire. And so you want to swine my kingdom, rasped Conan. What are you but an adventurer, seizing a crown to which you had no more claim than any other wandering barbarian, parried Amalrus. Wow, what a comeback. We are prepared to offer you suitable compensation. Compensation? It was a gust of deep laughter from Conan's mighty chest. The price of infamy and treachery. I am a barbarian, so I shall sell my kingdom and its people for life and your filthy gold? Ha! How did you come to your crown? You and that black-faced motherfucking pig beside you. Your fathers did the fighting and the suffering and handed their crowns to you on golden platters. What you inherited without lifting a finger, except to poison a few brothers, I fought for. You sit on satin and guzzle wine the people sweat for, and talk of divine rights of sovereignty. Bah! I climbed out of the abyss of naked barbarism to the throne, and in that climb I spilt my blood as freely as I spilt that of others. If either of us has the right to rule men, by Crom, it is I. How have you proved yourself my superior? I found Aquilonia in the grip of a pig like you, one who traced his genealogy for 1,000 years. The land was torn with the wars of the barons, and the people cried out under suppression and taxation. Today, no Aquilonian noble dares maltreat the humblest of my subjects, and the taxes of the people are lighter than anywhere else in the world. What of you? Your brother Amalrus holds the eastern half of your kingdom and defies you. And you, Strabonus, your soldiers are even now besieging castles of a dozen or more rebellious barons. The people of both your kingdoms are crushed into the earth by tyrannous taxes and levies. And you would loot mine. Ha! Free my hands and I'll varnish this floor with your brains. Wow. Quite violent. Satha grinned bleakly to see the rage of his kingly companions. All this, truthful though it be, is beside the point. Our plans are no concern of yours. Your responsibility is at an end when you sign this parchment, which is an abdication in favor of Prince Arpello of Pelia. We will give you arms and horse, and 5,000 golden lunas, and escort you to the eastern frontiers. Setting me adrift where I was when I rode into Aquilonia to take service in her armies, except with the added burden of a traitor's name. Conan's laugh was like the deep, short bark of a timber wolf. Arpello, eh? I've had suspicions of that butcher of Pelia. Can you not even steal and pillage frankly and honestly? But you must have an excuse, however thin. Arpello claims a trace of royal blood, so you use him as an excuse for theft and a satrap to rule through. I'll see you in hell first. You're a fool, exclaimed Amalrus. You are in our hands, and we can take both crown and life at our pleasure. Conan's answer was neither kingly nor dignified, but characteristically instinctive in the man whose barbaric nature had never been submerged in his adopted culture. He spat full in Amalrus's eyes. The king of Ophir leaped up with a scream of outraged fury, groping for his slender sword. Drawing it, he rushed at the Cimmerian, but Satha, why can't I say that? Satha intervened. Wait, your majesty, this man is my prisoner. Aside, wizard, shrieked Amalrus, maddened by the glare in the Cimmerian's blue eyes. Okay, that's enough for today.